Well, welcome back, everybody. This is Eye to Eye, the place where we talk about anything and everything Disney. My name is Kyle. I am part one of the dynamic duo that is Eye to Eye. My wife, Jessica, being their half. Today, this live stream is just about discussing WandaVision Episode 3. We're going to break down everything that happened, talk about it, maybe ask some questions about what actually is happening in this crazy show so far. So last week, we talked about Episode 1 and 2 since they premiered together. This week we're going to just mainly talk about that, and I've got some things written down here. I've got probably more questions than answers, but that's part of the reason we do these streams, these live streams, is because even though we aren't here to maybe share all the new information with you, we'd love to hear and talk about and connect with you here on these live streams. Before we get started, though, I do want to always share some stuff that we have going on here, some ways that you can help support this channel, and here is a way that you can do that. Number one, just being here, hanging out on a live stream, watching these videos, hitting that like button. Those are the easiest and just the easiest way that you can help support this channel. You can also join our channel membership program called the Power Line. I2I is a playoff of the Goofy movie. The Power Line is the same thing. You can join for as little as $1.99 a month and get yourself some cool perks and help support the content that we do here on this channel. We also do PayPal donations, and we have a TeePublic store where you can buy our apparel and such with our logo and other Disney content as well. So those are the main things you can do as you get here, whether you're watching live or on the replay. If you enjoy what you watch today, I do hope that you will consider hitting the like button. And if you're enjoying what you're watching here and want to see more of this stuff, you can hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to make sure you never miss a live stream. Because we do these kind of on a random basis, and I know a lot of people aren't able to watch till the replay, but I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to be here if you would like to do so. So episode 3. So a lot of people, and I got a lot of text messages after episodes 1 and 2, or not even text messages, people asking me in person, well, what did you think about, and actually I just noticed that I need to switch over to, well, it's not plugged in, so we'll just work off of this real quick. So I apologize if the audio is a little off right now. I just realized that my microphone situation here is not as set up as well. So I hope it sounds okay right now. So anyway, back to what I was saying. Episodes 1 and 2, people were asking me what was my impressions of the show thus far. I said I liked it, but I needed episode 3 to deliver. And I don't necessarily know what deliver means. For me, I think I needed to see more than just the sitcom stuff. And just looking at episode 3 in and of itself, I don't think that we got too much more of the actual sitcom nature of this, or we got a lot more of the sitcom nature of the show, and not as much of the what's going on in the background. It was a very similar format to episodes 1 and 2, where you got a lot of, just having fun playing off of the tropes of certain decades of this type of sitcom comedies, which I thought were done very well. Speaking of which, let's kind of, I've done a little bit of research about that, seeing what other people are saying, and I agree with most of these, what these potential sitcoms out of these eras might be. So for the 70s, which is supposed to be, episode 1 was the 50s, episode 2 was the 60s, episode 3 is the 70s. So there were allusions and things that made it look like it was going to be the Brady Bunch type of theme. If you looked in the background, there was the staircase that was very much in the vein of the one that appears in the Brady Bunch. And there were some, I'll call them, decoration pieces, structure of the living room and stuff like that was very Brady Bunch inspired as well. Mary Tyler Moore, I got that more in the, let's say, the credits at the beginning, not the credits, but the intro sequence. I got more of that type of feel in for Mary Tyler Moore. In the other one that I've heard talked about is Three's a Company. Now, I'm not very familiar with Three's a Company, other than the fact that I know it was like an old TV Land type of show that a lot of people really, really enjoyed. But I don't have a lot of familiarity with that, to be honest with you. So I didn't catch a lot of the homages to Three's a Company, and there were apparently a lot of other smaller references to other 70s shows. But I think it's fair to say the Brady Bunch and Mary Tyler Moore are very heavily influenced on this one. And those are probably two of the big ones from the 70s that people remember. So the question for me now is, I guess if you play this out, episode 4 will be the 80s, episode 5 will be the 90s, episode 6 would be the 2000s. If we go that far, in episode, doing the math here in my head, episode 6, or wherever we left off, would be the 2010s. I don't know how much difference there's going to be between the 2000s and the 2010s, but there might be. I don't know. So that's kind of the sequence it looks like. Now, there's some people stipulating that we might see not so much of the WandaVision show on episode 4, but we might see a look into the show from the outside of the stuff that we're seeing, which we'll talk about here in just a second. So I'd love to hear from you. Which of those show influences did you think come through more for WandaVision episode 3? A lot of symbolism, a lot of things happen. And by the way, I guess we should just kind of give a gist of what happened here. Show is based in the 70s. Wanda is pregnant. We find out later that is twins. Hint, hint, wink, wink. If you read Marvel Comics, you know the significance behind all of that. Now, I will say that I did not read Marvel Comics growing up, but I do a lot of research about this stuff for the movies and stuff, not specifically for this YouTube channel, just because I enjoy learning about mythology and learning about all of that comes with it. But that being said, the twins are here. Vision seems very confused by what's going on. We kind of got the notion that Wanda has some control, and we kind of knew that from episodes 1 and 2, but really now we're starting to understand that she has a certain amount control over this reality that's happening, and that it seems that Geraldine, aka Monica Rambeau, might be someone that's trying to help, and it's actually somebody from the outside. And we kind of got to see that secret organization potentially, and what is most likely SWORD, happening on that one. Disney Dan's in the house. What's going on, man? He says, I'm so excited. Marvel's Truman Show is amazing. That was the other thing, and that's not a 70s show, I know, but a lot of people were making allusions to that show, saying this is kind of what it felt like, that there are people that are part of the show that don't actually know that they're part of the show. And every time they try to figure it out, somebody tries to bring them back in, make it harder for them to figure it out themselves and go forward from there. So I will say that, yes, the Truman Show is very much, so to speak. So as you're coming in onto the live stream, feel free to post comments, questions, what you want to talk about on this. And when I started the stream, I said that I needed episode 3 to deliver for me. I guess I should clarify. I think it delivered for me enough for me to continue to be interested in it. And let me be clear when I say this. I'm enjoying the show. But I need them to start giving me more about what actually is going on other than just the sitcoms. And they're doing a great job of playing off of all that stuff and making that entertaining. I have a great time guessing, in each set who this character is supposed to be like a reference to or things like that, because I enjoy doing Easter egg searches and things like that. And there are plenty of YouTube videos out there where you can get a look at all the different Easter eggs. Do you think Jim Carrey is going to show up in a green question or costume? I don't think so, but this reality that she has created makes it feel like that Jim Carrey could fit well into it, as crazy as that guy is. At any point, he could probably show up and be a part of that. And obviously the reference to him being part of the Truman Show there. So here's what I love is when we start getting more connective tissue with the rest of the MCU, because right now this feels like its own little world outside of the actual MCU. We have the moment where Geraldine, aka Monica Rambeau, is realizing that, or has the realization come in this reality, your brother died at the hand of Ultron. So it was a reference back to Age of Ultron. And I love that when you get like clear, distinct homages to something that's already happened in the MCU, because it builds connective tissue that continues to go forward. So I guess my question is, what's going on? We'll just call her Geraldine for now, because that's all we know her as officially, even though we all know she's Monica Rambeau at this point. What's going on? Mouse Talk is in the house. Walt and Melissa, good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. We're just talking a little bit about this crazy show that is WandaVision and what's been happening in that. I like that we got a few hints and answers, more like Wanda, more about WandaVision. Love the Pietro callback. Yes. So, there's a lot of people, and I think it has been confirmed, if not heavily suspected, that the Fox version of Quicksilver will be coming back will be implemented some way into this. So it was nice to kind of set everybody up for that and remind everybody, hey, the dude died in Age of Ultron, and I know we've probably forgotten about him, but he's coming back, so you might need to get ready and remind yourself that there's a brother of Scarlet Witch out there. But I guess my question with Geraldine, do you guys think that she's actually aware? Like, does she come in and is she just feigning, I don't know anything like this, or did she actually have a slip up? Because if you remember, they're talking. She and Wanda are talking about the twins, and then talked about her having a brother, and then she says, "Oh yeah, you had a brother that died at the hand of Ultron." And you can kind of see a look on her face like she had messed up and tried to switch it back. So I'm wondering, when you're in this reality, how much level of consciousness do you have? Dan, are you reacting to the fact that the Fox version is going to be built into this? If you are, I believe, I was watching somebody else's stream earlier, that I do think that has been confirmed, that is going to be there. If not confirmed, you can basically confirm it by looking up that type of information. To be honest, the whole mystery behind the show is, why is Wanda in this alternate world? And if it's not by choice, who is doing it to her? Great point. So who's the villain? Who do you all think the villain truly is in this? Is it Agnes? A lot of people seem to think that Agatha Hart, I think is her name, from the comic books, is potentially who Agnes is, and it seems pretty likely there. Is it Mephisto? Somewhere in the background. I've had a very prominent Disney person in the social media, podcasting, media world suggest that Wanda is actually the villain of this. And there's been a few hints that it might be going that route. There's been a few hints that potentially it could see that happen at some point. I don't know. Who do you think the villain is at this point? Captain Akron's in the house. Good to see you, Captain Akron. Thanks for being here. We're just kind of getting into some of the things that have happened in this episode and what potentially might be coming forward. Here's some things that I picked up on, and I did a little bit of research to make sure that I could confirm them, that I wasn't just kind of reading too much into the situation here. If you noticed, especially in the credits, there were a lot of hexagons used in type of showing little images and stuff like that. It could mean a bunch of different things. In the comics, apparently Wanda has the power of hexing people or placing hexes in general. So, could be an homage to that. I feel like that's a little, everything that's done here is a little intentional. So, while I think that's fun to speculate on, I think, though, the one that I find, and maybe this is personally just a little bit more juicy and why I like it, the hexes, or the hexagon, was also used in the symbol for the company known as AIM in the comics. And AIM exists in the MCU, if you remember from Iron Man 3. It was started by, I'm blanking on his name, but the fake Mandarin. And their symbol, with AIM in it, has got a little hexagon around it. So potentially what we could have happening here, and I'm starting to kind of lean this way, is we've seen different people / entities start to try to infiltrate this reality. Who actually are they, though? Are they all on the same side? Are they working in favor of Wanda? Are they working against Wanda? Because remember you've seen the toy plane that was in color when everything was black and white and had sword on it. We've seen the person when the screen pulls back at the end of episode 1, turn the notebook over, and that was sword on it. We've seen the beekeeper with potentially what looks like a sword on that. But if you remember, and if you are a comics fan, you'll know that the AIM guys, not only do they have the AIM with the hexagon symbol, they wear what look like beekeeper outfits. So now I'm starting to suspect that that guy from end of episode 2, based on what we're learning and seeing here hinted in the other one, that guy is actually an AIM agent. I think it is, and I think he's coming in under the guise of Sword, because it's very clear that Sword is trying to infiltrate this reality to save Wanda, or maybe not to save Wanda, but to do something. It doesn't feel very evil, their intentions, right? But what do you guys think about that? Do you think AIM is in play with this one? I haven't seen a lot of people talk about that one, so maybe I'm just really reaching here. Maybe this is just preferential, like what I want to happen. Which is highly likely, to be honest with you, because I tend to see things into what I want to be true and try to kind of make it happen for myself. So it could be just me wishful thinking that AIM is somehow in play with this, but it feels a lot like the MCU needs to use them a little bit more often. So I wonder if we've got two different entities trying to infiltrate the reality. One is AIM and one is Sword, and AIM is kind of coming under the guise that they are Sword right now. So that's just kind of what I'm thinking about in terms of the way the whole breakdown of who's trying to infiltrate what at this point. Mephisto. Is Mephisto going to show up? It sure seems like it. I know we're still talking mainly about episode 3 here, but if you remember in episode 2, what was his name? Ralph, I think is his name. He gave a stick of gum to Vision, which caused him problems throughout the sitcom, called Big Red. A lot of people use the phrase Big Red to describe the devil, and Mephisto is known as the devil in this. So now some people are starting to speculate, is Ralph the devil or Mephisto? And is he working with Agnes? Because you saw the two of them arguing, and he was doing the weird thing where he was trimming the hedges. All of a sudden he's trimming through the concrete and just smiling away about it. So I'm kind of, it makes you think that he's not aware so much of the reality that's going on, right? But is he just playing that up for show? But clearly the two of them have some, semblance of what's actually going on here and understanding of the reality of what actually is taking place here. So I don't know what's really to think of that. The whole Ralph being Mephisto theory, but it's possible. It could be possible. I do think that we are going to continue to, and I think one of the brilliant things about the MCU and Kevin Feige is they will send you so many little Easter eggs and make you think this way and that way and this way and that way about all this stuff, and you could be 100% wrong. Kind of like my theory about AIM trying to infiltrate this reality, just like Sword is going to. Let's talk about a little bit more about Geraldine / Monica Rambeau. Do you think that she was just part of the reality, or she was just a innocent bystander? Because we learned that Westview is a real town. Who would have thought, right? I thought it was all just make-believe, but it's actually a real town. We pull back when we see that there's this front of the neighborhood sign that is encompassed by this bubble behind it, and that is where Geraldine / Monica gets launched out of, and then lands there, and then soldiers come around, and we assume that that is a Sword infantry or group of individuals there that are coming to help her and get her off her feet. First of all, she got launched through the air. If she doesn't have superpowers yet, then how did she survive that? And she may not have. But yeah, the Westview being a real town, so that's an interesting confirmation that there are probably a lot of innocent bystanders, which we've seen in this reality, that are trying to break free. And we saw that with Dr. Hart's wife in episode 1, where she seemed to almost kind of be pleading with Wanda, hey, even though I'm kind of forced to participate in this, I still understand there's something bad going on. You saw her crying, saying, stop it, which was still creepy even to this day. So Westview is real, and there seems to be the organization Sword stationed outside of it trying to break in. So that's, most people are theorizing that Monica Rambeau was sent in there under the guise as Geraldine, sent in there to try to infiltrate, figure out what's going on, which would make sense with why she knows so much about Wanda and her past. Obviously knew about Pietro and the time with Ultron. So that makes a lot of sense going forward. What else stuck out to you about this episode? Don't be shy. Feel free to post any comments or questions you might have about this. Any theories? I always love discussing theories about what people think is actually happening in the show. Excuse me, get a drink of water here. What else? I'm trying to go through my notes here and think about what's interesting to talk about on this. Obviously, a lot of use of the color red, which is the color scheme that goes with Wanda a lot, but it's with Mephisto as well. I'm kind of settling on the fact that Wanda actually might end up being the villain by the end of this thing, and obviously setting up for the whole, because we know this is all going to be a trilogy, right? We know that this is going to be WandaVision, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and then it's going to finalize with Spider-Man 3, whatever that's going to be called. Far From Home. It was Homecoming, Far From Home, Home Away From Home. I don't know. That would make sense, Home Away From Home, if it's in a different reality. Or Welcome Home. I've seen that happen. I hope that after this Spider-Man movie, they break away from the whole home thing, because it was fun the first time. It's getting a little campy at this point for me, So, yeah, I think that's most of my notes that I had and wanted to discuss about this. Obviously, like I said before, we do these on a random basis when I have the time to do them. And I don't know what time is best for everybody else on Fridays to do something like this. So if you are watching this on the replay and you would prefer that we do it at a different time of day, early in the morning, later in the evening, early afternoon, late afternoon, please do let me know in the comments section after you're watching this, because we always want to make sure we have as many people available to be a part of this as want to be. Captain Akron says, the doctor says he can never leave what was the necklace symbol. So if you're asking about Monica's necklace, that was clearly a sword emblem. Some people have suggested that potentially when she went into this reality, she lost some control of her consciousness, but that necklace was manifested by her subconscious and kind of revealed it to her. Because we really didn't pay much attention to that, right? And I don't even know necessarily, I'd have to go back and watch. Was it there the whole time? Maybe when she got reminded. So let's play this out a little bit. Monica / Geraldine works for SWORD. They sent her in to try to help or to get information or see what's going on in there. But when you go into this world, if you don't have some type of special ability powers, maybe you can't maintain your full consciousness, and maybe it takes you a while to kind of figure it out that I'm not part of this reality. And maybe that's why when Wanda started talking to Monica about her brother and singing in Sokovia, it reminded her. And when that reminder came back up, that necklace appeared. If it wasn't there the whole time, I have to go back and look. Then starting the chain of events where she literally gets thrown out of the reality by Wanda. And look how evil she looked in that moment. Like, did you see when Vision walked back into the door and asked what had been going on? Or just, she nonchalantly just responds that everything's all right. And next thing we know, Monica's getting thrust out of the reality, which was pretty wild to watch. Other thing that I thought was interesting here is there was another instance earlier in the episode where Vision clearly started suspecting that something was off, walks into the living room, and as he starts sharing with Wanda, I feel like something's wrong. Did you notice what happened? Like, I literally had to go restart. I went back, the 10-second button on your most TVs or streaming services they have now. You can rewind for just a second to re-see something. I had to do it a couple times just to make sure that my TV hadn't messed up. It was brilliant. Basically what happened is Wanda just kind of restarted, but it made some little herky-jerky noise, like most streaming things do when something messes up. But yeah, they it was Wanda clearly did that so that he wouldn't make it out of there. You say that makes sense in terms. I'm assuming you're talking about the Monica theory there. I think that she probably has to work herself into being aware of what's going on, and when she did that, that necklace reappeared, and then it kind of busted her a little bit. Same thing with the whole beekeeper guy in episode 2. As he was coming up out of that, maybe that beekeeper suit, maybe he's not part of AIM, maybe that is what can help them keep their consciousness. But anytime she sees that symbol now, she's kind of associated with associated that what's going on. I really do. I'm starting to believe that AIM's going to play a lot into this, and maybe Mephisto is working with AIM. If I remember from the comics, AIM did a lot of things with like alternate realities and stuff like that. If I remember correctly, like MODOK, I think, is in there. So I wouldn't be surprised if, because think about it, the MCU is devoid now of Thanos and his minions and stuff like that. So they're going to need to start, and Hydra for that matter. So they're really going to need to start building up these 1 or 2 or 3 entities that are really going to be the big bads, and then another one rises like Thanos out of all of that. So you kind of need a new Hydra. AIM can be that, right? Potentially. You need a new shield. Sword is that. And even though they seem to be good, as we learned with shield, even not under the guise of Hydra, they always kind of have their gray spots where they kind of skirt some lines they shouldn't. So AIM could be that. And we know that the Mandarin and the Ten Rings is kind of arising. So you could have this situation where you've got a lot of little different entities that are vying to be the next big bad, but really something bigger is coming on the horizon. Kang the Conqueror. I think that's what's going to happen here. All right, you have a chance for final questions and comments before I get out of here. Thank you so much for all of y'all that have been a part of the stream today, and even if you're watching live on the replay. If you want to help support this channel, a couple ways you can do that. Watch the videos. Number 2, the Power Line. If you haven't, at least go check it out. I think I have the link available for all of you, but it is our channel membership program where you can sign up for as little as $1.99 a month to help support the content that we do here. And there it is. I posted in the chat window for you, and it's in the description below if you need to access it that way. Also, we take PayPal donations at paypal.me/i2idisney. The TeePublic store where you can buy our logo with some other stuff as well. Help support all the content we do. By the way, if you have not at least checked out the channel memberships, you get access to inside information that nobody else knows. I've been working on a lot of different things that are going to be coming out very soon. So if you want to find out about some of those before anyone else, maybe help decide some of the things we do. Because we try to tailor this channel towards you, the viewers. So if it's something that you want to see from us, you might want to be a part of that, or at least consider being part of that. So that is all I have here today. I appreciate everybody who's tuned in even for a few seconds to be part of the stream. And I hope to see you here on another live stream soon. We'll do episode 4 next Friday at some point. And then we have several other things throughout the week. Our trivia nights on Thursdays at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time. And lots of other videos that will be coming out whenever they're available. Till we assemble again, may the Force be with you. And I'll see you real soon.